I don't want to get into the whole black leaders thing because I have my own opinion, and it's not, and a lot of people might not particularly like what I gotta say about them. But I'll say this much: I think there's more people who are average Joes who are better leaders than our black leaders are, in my opinion. And I would like to say that you're one of them for even attempting to do what you're doing right now. So, hats off to you, salute. Is there anything you want the young viewers who have 1 foot or maybe perhaps 2 feet in the streets, headed towards a coffin or a life in prison? Do you have anything you want to tell them, help enlighten them?
Well, one thing I can say is like, I'm 58 years old. 32 years of that was spent in prison, and it took me. I was 33 before I finally became a man and started accepting my own responsibility. My advice to the kids is stop pointing fingers and blaming other people for your faults. They are your faults. If you carry them, only you can straighten them out. You need to stop looking at avenues and listen to the negative. If people's talking negative around you, get away from them because they're not your friends. You can run to a gang and think the gang is your friend, but then the gang is the same one that's going to put a bullet in your head down the end once you step out of line. Whereas though your mother would only beat your ass. So you need to start thinking about the consequences. But that's one thing I never thought about was the consequences of what you do afterwards. Because everything you think you got away with, believe me, it's going to come back to haunt you. Everything that's done in the dark comes to light sooner or later. Whether though a friend that you thought was real close to you that knows something personal about you. Him get on the outs, boom. All of that was in the dark, it's in the open.
Yeah.
So you need to start, surrounding yourself with positive things. I know it's hard to find out there, but you do have some people, that actually believe in you, and I found a lot that I realized that I never had, because when I came home, I had a strong support group, not only for my family, but for people that stuck with me during the whole 18 years that saw something in me that I didn't know that I had. So I see a lot. I deal with a lot of young kids every day, and I see a lot of potential. I see a lot of wasted potential. So my advice to the kids is that stick to the positive, get away from the negative. I know you want to be a baller, but ballers don't. If you ain't got a basketball, you ain't a baller.
Correct.
So pull it together. I know your term for balling is selling drugs. Selling drugs is going to leave you 3 places: death, prison, or you just want a dope fiend for the rest of your life. And I've seen a lot of my homeboys, I got a guy now, 62 years old, still think he's 16. We got to become unstuck. They still stuck. And that's our community. We stuck in the 60s. We got to redevelop, regroup, and start branching out in positive ways, because it's a lot of opportunity. When you see these broken down houses, these abandoned houses, and abandoned lots, that's opportunity. Look at the opportunities around you. It's all around you. The white man is coming in, they're building on it. So why can't we? So that's one of the positives we have to put in our mind. We need to start rebuilding our community.
Yeah. I don't know if you're aware of this or any of the viewers who are not from New York City, but areas that were predominantly black in the city, no more. You got Bed-Stuy being taken over. You got Harlem being taken over. It's to the point where in certain situations where, I don't know if you heard of stop and frisk. It's kind of like against civil rights, but what's happening in some situations, it could be the most minor. I'm not gonna say minor. Let's say somebody got caught with a gun, or someone was shot around. The cops will come in and they'll ID everybody. It becomes like an internment camp. Everybody that goes in, out. you gotta know who they are. Basically, you just writing your name, and like you don't even have rights anymore. So if I'm going to visit somebody in their apartment, they have a right to frisk me just off the fact that I'm going to that building.
Yeah.
And I think that's very unfair. And ultimately, I believe the reason why they're doing that is to discourage people from not to stay away from a life of crime. I'm not saying that you should stay away from that. I think you should stay away from that, period. But I think they're trying to discourage people from staying in those communities. They try to keep you as uncomfortable as possible, to the point where you're like, man, I want to leave, or you get frustrated. Meanwhile, the property value is already going lower and lower. Someone on the outside is looking at that, and they start investigating to see what is this place worth, what is that place worth. And before you know it, the stuff to run right up from under you. Yeah. Now they own it. Yeah. You paying them right now. Yeah. Meanwhile, let's say your whole family lived there for generations upon generations. You cannot give that to your next generation no more. Now you got a whole bunch of people. It's a big exodus of black people leaving New York City because they can't keep up with the way that the game is being played. And sooner or later it's going to trickle down into Baltimore. It's going to trickle down to D.C.
Well, it's starting now, you know, and the main thing we have to consider is that is what they're doing is in order for property developments to grab hold, they would have to see the crime go down, you know, because the crime is what brings down the property.
Yeah, exactly.
So we start working together and start bringing up our property value by starting rebuilding the community ourselves. Those developers got to come to us instead of the city.
And hold people accountable.
Yeah, we have to start. Everybody's got to be accountable for what they do. You know, and just like me, I was every crime I committed, I was held accountable before I did my time. You know, so we have to start holding them accountable. You know, because right now they just selling up our lives right away. Like California right now. Japan owns California. The whole California, Japan owns it. Hollywood, all of that. That's Japan.
There's a lot of buildings in like monuments, buildings in New York City that's owned by Japan.
Yeah, Japan
and
China.
Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. How can people contact you if they want to get involved with Why Murder? In any way possible.
Well, you can go to whymurder.org, you know, whymurderinc.org, or you can contact Janine Pearson at 443-743-6905. We're at the World Trade Center in Baltimore, 18th floor, and we're on the law firm. So that's a good thing, because we can handle a lot of stuff too. I'm at Shulman, True, and Gilman, 18th floor. Entire 18th floor, just come up. The Why Murder is okay.
You know, I heard that you actually took law. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had to get in law, because that's how I got out of prison.
So you did your own research and your own work. You became self-sufficient within the legal terms of the law, rather as far as the words are concerned, the definitions.
Yeah, I became a layman, as it would say in legal terms. But at the same time, I realized that, you know, I had people around me telling me, man, you got 3 life sentences, you ain't going nowhere. You know, and I could never define the word can't.
It doesn't exist.
You know, so I had to because if you don't try, how in the hell you know you can't do it?
Very true.
So I put in my best effort, and I'm here. So it's just like I can do it, anybody can do it.
Self-determination.
It's self-determination. Make your mind, if you want to go left, go left. You know, if you can't go, you can't walk the thin line, you know, and step over anytime you want. You got to walk that straight line all the way through, because especially if you're dealing with kids, because they hear what you say and they see what you do.
And they emulate.
And if they don't coincide with each other, you through.
Yeah. With that being said, last thing, is there anything, any words of advice or any words you want to leave the kids who are watching this before we go?
Yeah, I don't believe the hype otherwise. And that's about it. But I think I said enough. You know, and I hope I can affect somebody. Maybe somebody look at it and give me some money. You know, or maybe somebody look at it and give me some help. You know, the help is more valuable because it's people. You know, and that's what I'm dealing with, people. You know, so we have to come out and start focusing. You know. So that's why Murder, Donnie Andrews, and I'm signing out.
Everyday peoples, you heard it. Straight from the source. This ain't no game. He did his time. He came out through self-determination. But everybody telling him he couldn't. He made it happen. And now he's trying to teach everybody how to become self-sufficient and build their communities. All right? We could do this. It's a black leader right here in the making. All right, y'all.